Just 1 second and we'll go live. Flip that around. There we go. Yeah, I noticed.
Skipper can handle it. Those guys can handle it.
Does he know?
Funny.
We got a few watchers.
Alright, are we ready?
Just,
Good.
Yeah, you're live.
you're rolling.
Okay, so we started out today. We still had the FBI agent. Let's see what his name is. Mark Saylor on the stand. We started out the morning without the jury. They wanted to play more of the video between Cliven, where he gives Engel the microphone and Engel misrepresents what Cliven said. They're not going to allow it. Then they tried to then they talked about 443 and Carol Bundy is a co-conspirator, not an unindicted co-conspirator. In court, she is called a co-conspirator. They're talking about pictures in a Dropbox with Shannon Bushman and entered email from MOA. This is all the stuff that they were fumbling with yesterday. They got their stuff together and were able to get it all in this morning, and then no further questions asked, and they move into cross-examination. Perez gets up and he has him re-explain a lot of the Facebook stuff, go back through it. He actually did some damaging things in the cross, talking about asking a legal stance. Any other time that anyone has asked a question to a law enforcement officer or anyone that has a legal, comes to a legal definition, she won't allow it. She won't allow the Constitution in because it gives a legal definition. She won't allow anything. But Perez asked this legal question to this agent, and his response was his presence with a weapon was disrupting the agents in this event. And then objections from our defense, and they say it goes to legal standing, and she said, but it was a legal question and allows it. So here we have this judge who has not allowed any legal questions to law enforcement officers to happen, but she's going to allow Perez to do it just because the guy's answer to the question was for the prosecution. This agent was actually watching video from Vegas on the 12th. So he was in Vegas on the 12th. He was watching the aerial footage and Pete Santilli's live feed. Then they were brought up about, because he was with, what is her name? Maybe that was later. Then they're also talking about fake profiles and alias, and if Ricky ever had an alias. And if the FBI could see a person's Facebook posts, and would they use that to look into another person? And that was yes. Tomasi, Stephen Stewart did not know Ricky Loveland. Yeah. Just goes up and asks if Eric, because this is the agent that was at the arrest of Eric Parker. He asked if Eric went cooperatively. In the van, he was transported. The interview was recorded. He spoke to you with no animosity, talked about his wife and kids, told you why he came down, told you why he did what he did at Bunkerville. He said the interview you took was 2.5 hours long, and you played less than 1% of that interview. Then the judge and then he's no more questions, goes and sits down, and the judge yells at him because what he's leaving is very misleading for the jury, and so she reprimands him in front of the jury, saying that what he's leading to is wrong and why they won't play the video. Then Engel goes up and asks if prior to the 12th they were investigating these groups and these individuals. He asked about Robin Kirkham and if the guy was with Robert Kirkham, which yes he was. He asked if Robert Kirkham had opened aliases, Facebook accounts, and that was yes. And then he was talking about how if he would know what her alias was, And at first he said he didn't know, but then he said that he did know that it wasn't any of these other emails, other accounts that they're bringing up with this Facebook footage. He was asked if Mark Kessler is an FBI agent, and the answer was no. He asked if he played a video that was part of a larger video. It was objected and sustained upon, and he had to move on. Then at the very end, he made a comment that Ryan Payne is you could say Ryan Payne is an exaggerating blowhard, and that was objected to, and he went and sat down. Jack got up, talked about how many millions of people are on the internet every day, and talked about people using the internet to commit crimes and hackers, and how maybe somebody else could be posting from a Facebook post. This FBI agent skirts around every question, answers questions with statements, not answers to the question. I mean, this guy was well trained. They had a hard time in cross. Leventhal gets up and he said, "You never saw Drexler on his friends list." He makes him read the MOA website page again and makes him note a member's statements did not affect the group, and if a member made a statement, it's not representation of the entire group, but the person that is making that statement. Then they show Ryan Payne do the thumbs up and asked if he knew if anyone asked him how his breakfast was, or if talking about the police and their statement about the BLM leaving. And he skirted around those questions, but I think it was obvious to the jury. Then he asked if Rick Lake was a government informant or Mark Kessler was a government informant, and both were no.
Mark Kessler is.
To his knowledge, not to his knowledge. So it wasn't just no, it was no, not to my knowledge. So he's trying to play around this. He was aware that she went undercover, but he doesn't know what her screen name was. And then he was asked how would he know if her fake screen name was in any of these Facebook posts, and I think it was objected to with relevance and moved on. Then we bring in another special agent, Timothy Deppner, from Oklahoma, and he brings in evidence. They brought in evidence today, Ricky Loveland's booking photos. So a picture of him and a picture of his tattoos. And they say this is relevant somehow. This guy was there when they booked him. Then they asked him to identify Ricky Loveland in the courtroom, and he does not identify Ricky Loveland. He says a man in a gray suit, and then they immediately moved on from that witness. Nobody had any questions, but I really don't see how someone's booking photos have anything to do with their case.
Trying to stereotype.
Yeah, that's pretty much just trying to get, derogatory evidence in for the jury to see. Then they brought in Special Agent Joseph.
Oh,
wow.
Holy.
Almost an accident
Moving
there.
on.
And he is another agent that is open source intelligence. He's looking on the internet for anything that pertains to Bundy Ranch. Here, they are entering photos and video that this guy finds on the internet. He's openly searching militia, Bundy Ranch, standoff, gunmen. He's finding news articles, people's posts, people's videos, and they're bringing it in. These photos.
So they're trying to bring in new evidence?
They're bringing in new evidence from this FBI agent. Photos that he did not take and he does not know who took. No idea of the time. And there's the contacts, or if it's edited, or if it's the original copy. All of this. And so they bring this FBI agent in and they enter all of these photos. I don't understand how you can bring in a person who picks up photos off the internet and can attest to their time, date, and authenticity of those pictures. There was a huge fight about that, but it was overruled. Then they're talking about a Todd Engel video, and that if he was familiar with the voice and if he knows the authenticity of the page, in his wording, he said assumes. And so that put a big stop to a lot of that coming they went through it, they laid foundation, but it was not allowed to be entered to the jury. They said they're going to bring someone else in to authenticate it late, and that's the audio. So then we go into cross-examination. Tomasi goes up and says, can you tell me what time this picture was taken? And he brings up another picture and says, the guy says not by the second. He's using like these keywords, by the second. Like he can tell by the minute, but not by the second, which is not true. And then he brings up another picture and he's like, well, you can tell that that was taken before. And he's like, well, how can you tell that was taken before? And he says, well, the crowd was back and then the crowd goes forward. And Tomasi says, well, and then the crowd comes back. Well, not in that formation. They're arguing. And he says, well, can you, no, then Jackson goes up and asks about keywords they used during the Google search and how long he focused on militia. And it was coming out somewhere around 100 hours in the first 3 weeks. And then how many times he met with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and that was 8 times with the U.S. Attorney's Office since the Bundy Ranch. 3 to 4 times a few years ago, 2 times last year, and 2 times last week. Just got up and said, you know, he saw a lot of footage of this individual being Eric with what he was wearing, and that they were showing him footage, and he states that numerous pictures of the man with the plaid shirt. He was asked if he could identify him from the aerial footage that he sees. The guy says yes. We all know, we've seen that aerial footage. You can't identify anyone on that aerial footage. This gentleman says yes. He can attest to where he was on the bridge, even though he wasn't there himself, and he's doing it by photo only. He can attest to the fact that they were on the bridge in that position for so long, based on aerial footage, which we all saw in the courtroom, and it's further away, you can't tell what. You can barely tell up cars, and they're saying that you can identify people. Leventhal gets up, and he enters 5046. It's a screenshot of this FBI agent's computer screen when he's collecting information. They get him to authenticate it. Yes, it is his screen. They pull it to the bottom and they bring up that he has all these different windows open. One of them is Roxio Creator, and the other one is, I can't pronounce it. It's another Photoshop. And he says, you know, he says he has not received any formal training, so he cannot tell you if you can take things away or put things in with these applications that they have. And then they bring up other photos. He said he didn't take the photo, or there was an objection because he didn't take the photo, so he can't tell if there's something missing or added. And Leventhal says he hasn't taken any of these photos. Why should we even be here? Why should any of these photos even be entered? Because he hasn't taken any of this. He can't attest to anything. So the government redirects. He says, have you ever edited any of these photos? He said he added arrows. He did some things here and there. Leventhal gets back up and he says, do you know if any person who took any of these photos edited them? Do you know if the photos were edited before you got them? Guy couldn't answer that. And so that was him. Then we enter Special Agent Adam Nixon. He was also an open source investigator, and then later got the subpoena for Greg Burleson's Facebook account. Also, Carol Bundy and Ammon Bundy, I believe, is this agent's. We start to go into it. They put the first piece of evidence up there. There was an immediate objection to it, and they let the jury out. Now we're going into Greg Burleson's Facebook. Everything that Greg Burleson that they've got in there on his Facebook that they're trying to put in is after the 12th. It's all racist. It's all hate-filled. It's saying things like, I'm the guy that had... and so they're going through without the jury line by line, and I left halfway through because she wasn't going to admit anything extra. They're arguing that this is defamatory towards the other people in the courtroom. She's not going to put it in just towards Greg Burleson. It goes towards the conspiracy for everyone, which that doesn't make any sense to me. It's his own statements on Facebook after that. I guess he makes a couple statements about they still need boots on the ground in at the Bundy Ranch, and that's how it goes to the be a long and grueling day if we're going to be going through Red Girls and Facebook.
All right, Andrea, thank you.
Thank you.
And what time's court tomorrow?
8:30 again tomorrow. I believe we're not going to do 8 anymore. We're going to do 8:30 from now on.
All righty. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Night, America.